So Tim Walz said that he carried a gun in combat. He's committing stolen valor. He never went to combat. He got out of his unit before they deployed to Iraq. And I want to explain by a couple stories of men that I served with why it is such an egregious crime for him to say that. It is a crime against the men and women that did serve in combat, that did put forth everything, every ounce of themselves into enemy territory, into a hostile environment at the risk of their life. I want to explain why it's so horrible what he's saying. A lot of people probably blow it off and just go, it was one minor statement. He's not saying he got the Medal of Honor. He's not saying that he stormed the beaches of Omaha. Yeah, he said he carried a gun in combat, let it go. No, you don't let it go, and I'm going to tell you why. So let me just talk about a few of the Marines that I served with. Let me just give you several instances, okay? And these are guys that were very close to me. So one is my buddy Justin, okay? I won't give his last name. My buddy Justin. Justin was hit by an RPG in the city of Ramadi in 2004. He took a pretty good amount of shrapnel to his body and then was medevaced to Germany. Justin had a ticket home. He could have gone all the way back to the United States. Instead, he got patched up and he requested to be sent back to his Marines in Ramadi. That was a young private first class in the United States Marine Corps. Can you imagine being 18, 19 years old, going through that kind of trauma, that kind of fear, those kind of intense situations, getting a plane ride out of there, getting patched up, and then saying, I want to go back to my guys. And that's exactly what he did. One of my best friends, Jimmy, shot through the carotid artery, blows out by an AK-47, blows out half the teeth in his mouth, severs his carotid artery, and Jimmy wanted to go back to Iraq. He wanted to go back, and if he physically could have, he would have. And then my good buddy Scotty. Scotty was older than us. He was, he'd already served, I want to say 8 years in the Marine Corps, and he was on his way to get out of the Marine Corps. And he'd done his time, and so he didn't deploy with our unit. He stayed back at Camp Pendleton. And then as things got really bad for us in Ramadi, and guys like me and guys like Jimmy came home, Scotty saw us, and he saw what was going on, and he went ahead and re-enlisted so that he could go to Iraq and be with his men. That's the kind of guys, those are rank and file Marines in an infantry battalion. That's the kind of heroism that is there in these ranks, in these platoons, in these companies, battalions. Men that, most of them, you know, if they were wounded, they got a Purple Heart, but most of them didn't get some, you know, Valor Award or anything like that. There's nothing crazy written in their DD-214. There's no, you know, printed out citation story of all the valorous acts that they conducted. There's nothing like that. These are the average. And when I say average, I'm not trying to take them down. I'm saying our average in the Marine Corps is so high that for Tim Walz to go out there and say, I carried a gun in combat. Hang on, dude. You are putting yourself on the level of these men that went forth and got hit and got shot at and said, no, I'm going back. So you don't say you carried a gun in combat if you never freaking served in combat. That's disgusting. You ought to be ashamed of yourself to say that. You ought to be ashamed of yourself to try to get a leg up on your political opponent or try to do yourself any political favors by riding the backs of heroic men that did do that. Because to carry a gun in combat is a scary freaking thing. To feel like you're going to get shot at or blown up at any time and go out there and wonder, am I going to come back in a body bag, or am I going to come back mangled? Am I going to come back like disfigured for the rest of my life? It's a scary thing. And for him to put himself on that level is absolutely disgusting. Men who carried a gun in combat are freaking heroes. And Tim Walz is not one of them.